Hey guys, I'm here to bring you the update video that you never asked for, but I've been off of YouTube for like 3 weeks, which is really weird for me, and I kind of wanted to explain why. So this whole thing started about, I guess, like a month ago at this point, and it just started out with a cold. My kids got the cold. Philip kind of did, not really, but it was mostly the kids, and it was super minor, like a super minor cold. No one got fevers. I got it as well because as a mom, you literally are just waiting for the inevitable illness to be passed to you from your kids. So I got it as well, and same for me. It was super minor. I didn't get a fever. I had a runny nose. That was basically it. Now mine did last like a week longer than the kids did. Theirs was like gone in a week and mine was just a couple of weeks. And then that is when things started getting really bad. So it had been a couple of weeks at this point. I still wasn't completely over the cold, but I felt like it was mainly clearing up. And I was starting to feel the hope of finally this cold is about to be done. So I was picking up Noelle from school one day. So it was about like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And on the way home, I started feeling really cold. And it was hot out. Like it's pretty hot in Florida right now. So I thought it was kind of weird that I was feeling cold. And I felt bad like turning the air down because I know the kids were kind of like, you know, more on the hot side. But I just felt so cold and I didn't really think anything of it. I just thought that I was tired because I'm always tired, and sometimes I get like a little bit chilly when I'm tired. And then yeah, and on top of that, I just felt really fatigued and tired on top of being really chilly. So I decided to take my temperature when I got home, and yes, I had a fever. And in my head, I'm like, my cold is pretty much gone. Why am I getting this fever? This is so weird. So Philip was off that day. So when I got home, I was able to just lay down and rest, and again, didn't know where the fever came from, but I knew I just wanted to lay down and rest. So I did that. I was fine, whatever. Then that night, I kept getting fevers, kept taking Tylenol for the fevers. And like in the middle of the night sometime, I woke up with like this horrible back pain. Well, I guess at that point it wasn't super bad. Like it was bad, but the back pain continued to get worse over the next couple of nights. And I was not getting better. There was zero relief over the next like 2 or 3 nights. I think it was 3 nights. And I barely slept. There was hardly any sleeping. My back pain was just getting worse and worse. I could not sleep on my left side at all. And I'm a side sleeper, but I like switch sides every now and then, and that's what's most comfortable to me. So having to force myself to sleep on one side all night long was really hard. And then sometimes even sleeping on that side made my back hurt. So I had to like sit up for a minute and then lay back down on the side and then sit up and like just repeat. So I was trying everything. Absolutely everything. The Tylenol did not help with the back pain at all. It helped get fevers down. My sister brought me a heating pad at one point to try to help my back, and that didn't really help. I tried all these different positions to sleep in. I tried even sleeping like sitting up, and of course I can't do that. It was absolutely miserable to not get sleep night after night after night. Even the moments when I kind of felt like I could sleep, like, okay, the pain's gone for a minute, there's no fever, let me just lay down and sleep. And then it was like I could not fall asleep. No matter what I did, I could not sleep. I wasn't eating or drinking regularly. It was just a mess. And I remember feeling so weak and crying and praying to God, like, please let me get some relief. And during the days, it was hard too because I could barely move. Like I was so tired. I felt dizzy every time I stood up. My back pain was still horrible. It was hard to even just get up to go to the bathroom. I do want to say though that during this time, Philip was very extremely helpful, and I'm so thankful to have had him around. He would leave work to go take the kids to school or pick them up, or he would coordinate who was gonna pick them up what day. And it was just awesome to not have to worry about a single thing and just be able to rest because I needed it. So on like the 4th day, when I still wasn't feeling any relief, I decided to go to urgent care and just check things out. And I had to go there anyway because my son developed an ear infection. So I was like, okay, well, I gotta take him anyway. So I might as well just say, yeah, why don't you just check me out too? But they checked me for COVID, they checked me for flu, and that was a negative. I did a urine sample as well, and that came back, and they said I was a little dry, but they didn't find anything concerning. And basically he just told me to keep doing what I'm doing, taking Tylenol, and just kind of ride it out. So that was a little disappointing, and I'm like, oh, well, is there anything I can do about the back pain? And he's like, Tylenol and heat. And I'm like, great, it's not working. So fast forward a couple days later, I didn't like the fact that I was taking Tylenol all the time. So I tried to just kind of not take it for a little bit. And my fever ended up spiking really high when I didn't do that. So I got a little nervous, of course, because I'm pregnant and I wanted to be seen and make sure that the baby was okay and everything, because the thermometer was reading like 103 to 104 fever, which when you're pregnant, that's kind of like, it can be dangerous. So I decided to call my OB office and I talked to the doctor on call, and she wanted to go ahead and get me into the hospital. So I went and they put me in one of these, like, I don't even know what you call it. I know like for like labor and delivery, they call it triage. So it's kind of like that, like you're in a room, but you're not like in a room, if you know what I mean. So right away they checked on the baby and his heartbeat was about 180, which for him is a bit high at this point. And mine was in the 140s, so mine was high as well. But honestly, I was just happy that they heard a heartbeat for him, because I was getting concerned because I had like stopped feeling him move that day. Once I realized how high my fever was, I had stopped feeling him move, and I feel him move like all day basically, so it was a little concerning. So it was good that we heard his heartbeat. Yes, it was a little high for him, but we heard it, so that was good. He was still, you know, kicking. So they go ahead and hook me up to some fluids and they check my blood. They test me for a whole bunch of things. And when those tests came back, I was like in shock. I had thought the whole time that I was in there, oh, it's not that serious. My fever had gone down by then as well. It was at like 100. And that was without taking any Tylenol. So I'm like, oh, my fever's breaking on its own. This is good news. And then I thought that I just needed some fluids and I would be good to go and I wouldn't have to actually be admitted. But then they came back with all these test results and they realized I was critically low on potassium, anemic, my magnesium was low, I had a possible UTI, which I had no idea that was even going on, a kidney stone, a kidney infection, the whole bit. Like, I had a lot going on and I'm like, what in the world? So of course they had to admit me and put me on like 24/7 fluids, and I had to get potassium in my IV, take all these pills, like supplements, and yeah, it was a lot. And the back pain was obviously from the kidney stone or the kidney infection. There wasn't going to be any relief from that. And they ended up telling me while I was in the hospital that the kidney stone was like like 1 centimeter. And I've never had a kidney stone before, so I don't know. I didn't know anything about them. But he told me it was probably going to be too big to pass, and there was nothing that I could do about it until after pregnancy. So that was very disheartening to hear, because I just wanted relief from my back pain. Like, it was so bad. I could not sleep with this back pain. It didn't change in the hospital. I barely slept in the hospital. But honestly, who does? Like, who actually sleeps that well in the hospital? So anyway, got all this stuff done. My levels went back up. I stayed in the hospital for about 2 days. No, it was 3 days, 2 nights, 3 days. My appetite was still horrible. I was trying really, really hard to eat. Luckily, the fluids were going in me 24/7, so I didn't have to worry too much about drinking. But like, the eating thing was really hard still. Plus, hospital food is just not that great. By like the second day, my back pain had changed from being like an all over ache to like a shooting pain near my spine every now and then. And that was horrible. That was like really bad. There were a lot of times I had to like stand up and like move around so that I could try to relieve some of that pain. But I mean, when the shooting pain happened, there was just like no relief from that. I had to just kind of get through it. Luckily, it was only like a couple of seconds at a time, but it was still really bad pain. So I hated that. And by the 3rd day, they wanted me to stay another night because, well, they had sent off my urine to try and figure out exactly what kind of infection I had, whether it was a UTI or like an upper respiratory thing, because I was coughing at that point. So I'm pretty sure it was like an upper respiratory infection thing, or it could have just been the kidney infection. I don't know. I had a lot going on. It could have literally been anything, but they were waiting on those cultures to come back, and they probably wouldn't have come back for another day. And they wanted me to have 1 more night of antibiotics. But at that point, I was so exhausted, so over the hospital. I just really wanted to get home. So I was like, do I really have to stay another day? And he was like, well, no, you don't have to do anything. And then by the end of our conversation, he felt good about sending me home with some antibiotics because I was looking a lot better at that point, and he felt good about letting me go home with those antibiotics. So I was like, thank goodness, I'm leaving the hospital. My levels were all good at that point. yeah, so get home. Oh, I forgot to mention that baby boy's heart rate went down really quickly, and he was basically thriving the whole time I was in the hospital. So they kept checking on him like every 6 hours, and he was perfectly fine the whole time. It was just me that was falling apart. So I've been home for like a week and a half now at this point, and my back pain is gone. It's completely gone. I don't know anything about kidney stones again. I don't know if it's like settled somewhere where it's just not hurting anymore, or if I passed it. I really don't know anything about it. I'm not gonna question it. There's been no pain since I've been home basically, so I will take it, and I've been able to sleep a lot better, so that's good. I'm definitely on the mend. The only thing that's left is I have a blocked ear, and I've had a blocked ear since I've gotten home from the hospital. It's very annoying. I will never take hearing for granted ever again because I can barely hear out of this ear. I have been to urgent care to get it flushed out. That did nothing, so it's obviously a lot deeper than that. The antibiotics that they sent me home with normally would clear up a blocked ear like that, but it didn't, so they prescribed me something else. And so I'm taking that right now. I just started it yesterday, so hopefully that clears up my ear. I'm really tired of taking antibiotics. I just want to be done and rid of this. This blocked ear is like the last piece to the puzzle. Once this is done, then I will finally maybe start feeling like myself again. Obviously I'm still pregnant, so there's that, but like otherwise with sickness and everything that's been going on, I'm just ready to feel like myself again. So that's where I'm at. That's everything that has happened. I kind of have like, I don't want to say PTSD, that seems kind of dramatic. I guess just anxiety about going back to that point that I was at, because I mean, it was kind of scary to have so many things wrong all at once and be stuck in the hospital trying to get those levels back up. Like, it was kind of scary. I've been drinking a lot more, or trying to drink a lot more, even though I already kind of was, except for when I got sick, obviously. I did go see my OB yesterday as like my regular appointment, and it was kind of like a follow-up at the same time. And she said I looked hydrated, my urine looked normal, so that was good. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Really hoping my ear clears up soon. I don't know, it's just kind of annoying, especially in like louder environments. I can't hear a thing, basically. I have to like really lean in to hear who's talking to me. So like dropping the kids off at school and stuff is just very loud and hard to hear. So hopefully that clears up soon and isn't anything more serious, because I'm over this. But the important thing is I am on the mend and I'm feeling a lot better. So I guess that's my update. If this is the first video you're seeing of mine, my videos are never like this, so. But I'm excited to get back into YouTube, get back into filming and editing and uploading, getting back into what I love doing. So stay tuned for more videos, and I will see you when I see you. Bye guys.